Oh, there once was a guy called Cappy, and he did some shit. And then he went and did some more shit because that's all they're doing in life. And then when he woke up and did more shit. Oh, no fat chicks on the boat. Oh, no fat chicks on the boat. Oh, no fat chicks on the boat. All right, that's a joke between me and a buddy. Because I was a preacher's kid, we had to sing hymns. And he said, there's one rule about the boat. No fat chicks on the boat. I said, oh, no fat chicks on the boat. I found it funny. He found it funny. Everybody else, when I sang that song, didn't find it so funny. And there were no fat chicks among us. Oh, one rule on the boat. No fat chicks on the boat. Oh, no fat chicks on the boat. All right, we have a serious question, and it doesn't pertain to fat chicks on boats. It pertains to it's true. I'm going to believe this is true. I know studies show, research suggests, and it's like, oh, yeah, it's bullshit because you're a biased Marxist piece of shit. You're going to have it come out your way. But I'm going to believe this. I'm going to believe this, and I'll explain to you why. Not just for the sake of easy and like, okay, then I could do this seminar or this video. But I don't see people having a reason to bias this. But Rudolph writes, I hear citizens in states such as California, New York saying that they pay more in federal taxes than they receive. I'm not sure how this could be correct when California, New York carry such large homeless and welfare populations that have such a high state expenditures for infrastructure. Right. And this is where it's kind of complicated. There's no clear answer to this one. And a lot of this is guessing, because for me to do a full analysis, I could spend a year on this. You'd be paying a lot, but I think I got it pegged. But for example, what's the state spending? What's the county spending? We're only talking federal. Could you do a video response breaking down on how this financial relationship works between the state and federal governments, and if the claims of citizens of these larger states are true, or are they using partial or incorrect data? I believe it is true. I believe it is correct data as we can have available, but there are other variables that explain it, and it's not, oh, people in the red states be hypocrites. Though one of the explanations I'm going to very much champion is people in the red states be hypocrites, and Republicans oftentimes be hypocrites. I look forward to your response and estimate on what such a video would cost. Thank you for your time. So what I did is I put together some notes, and basically, if you look at the red state, blue state map, your Californias, New York, the coasts, and the pussies of the Midwest, that'd be Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Iowa, and Illinois. Always vote. Well, not always Iowa, not always Wisconsin, not always, but those are your blue states. And then the South, usually the hardworking non-pussy Midwest and your Western states, except for the coast, vote right. And they've cited, so the Democrats ran with it, the left ran with it, and it's like, look, see, we pay more, see, and it's like, yeah, you do, but there's some reasons and some things going on here. One, though I don't believe this is the largest single contributing factor, is the concept of infrastructure per capita. Keep in mind, when you get into the red states, they're typically, though not always, less populated. But you still got to build this freaking interstate, sometimes 1,000 miles across it to get to that other town. In other words, to run a state, and we're going to have it. I'm thinking transportation, the interstate system, namely, that is a lot of federal investment per person. I mean, Wyoming, I'd love to see transportation spending per person in Wyoming, whereas, not to say New York City doesn't have interstates and highways and all that, but on a per person basis, I think the highway spending is a lot less in your populated cities. So that's one thing. Another thing, and this is welfare, this is Republicans be hypocrites, but this is not your rank and file Republicans in the red states. These are farmers. Agricultural subsidies are huge. We don't, New York, Los Angeles, Well, California would probably receive some agricultural subsidies, but in general, your Connecticut's, your Massachusetts, your populated industrial blue states do not receive anywhere near the amount of agricultural subsidies as the red states do. And that is welfare. We do not discriminate. Do you want a student loan bailout? Well, you're a parasite. Do you want a bank bailout? You're a parasite. Are you a farmer? You want some subsidies? You're a parasite. So this cuts across all. Oh, so that's another thing that would explain it, where the red states receive more federal aid than the blue. Another thing is the other side of it's the numerator and not the denominator, or vice versa. And when you look, we're looking at what we spend. Well, how much did you pay in? And what you'll find out is the blue states totally own all of our major commercial centers of production. All of our high income earners live in the major metro areas. Now, we could talk about standards of living when your rent is $4,000 a month in San Francisco, but that doesn't matter. When you live in San Francisco, all of our major cities, all of our major commercial centers are in blue states. Okay, Chicago, New York, Massachusetts, Los Angeles, San Francisco, San Diego, Seattle, Portland. That's not to say that Dallas and Houston aren't big cities. They are, but they all vote left too. But the larger point is people in Wall Street and Silicon Valley, among other major metro, even Minneapolis, Chicago certainly as well, they're paying huge amounts in taxes because they make huge amounts of money. Whereas there's not a Chicago equivalent in Nebraska. There's not a New York equivalent in Wyoming. I think the richest people in Wyoming, people live in Jackson, but they don't come close to paying the taxes that these blue state major metro areas do. So it's not, I know they're still paying in. They are paying in, but it's not so much that they're paying in, it's what is being paid out. It's like, well, yeah, you live in New York where you got to pay $10 for a sandwich. You guys are earning all of them. Oh, yeah, of course you're going to pay in. Those guys probably vote Republican, by the way, too, unless you're the left coast where it's just like, I want to have the good feels. But all the people in Ocasio-Cortez's district over whatever shithole borough she's from, they're not making Wall Street money and they ain't paying the taxes. So you have this super high elite group of the highest income earners we have in the country, essentially subsidizing that. Now, I'd be real curious to remove those guys and gals. What would happen? What would New York look like if you got rid of Wall Street? What would California look like if you got rid of Silicon Valley? But that's still, they still pay the taxes. So I'm not begrudging them that. I'm just saying, well, yeah, you pay egregious sums of money in taxes. Well, you keep voting Democrat though. That's fine by me. So that's another reason for the flow from blue to red. Kind of related is geographic inflation. I guess I kind of touched on that before, where the tax rates don't adjust for the fact whether you live in San Francisco, Chicago, or Faith, South Dakota. They don't. Too bad for you leftists. Too bad for you city dwellers. I guess it sucks to be you. But the weather's nice in California. Did it rain? It didn't rain here because the sun shines down on our faces and out of our asses because we're from California. Like, okay, have fun, lady. Whatever, Karen. So you could, and it's even worse, I guess, because they're paying higher taxes. They have higher costs of living. But in order to cover those higher costs of living, how did that work? Oh, they got to be compensated. It's like when you go to California, if you make 100,000 in Silicon Valley, you are square middle income, maybe the lower part of middle income. And that doesn't afford you this a high standard of living in California. You paid 100,000 in Topeka, Kansas. You're a king. you're a king. But not because you're producing that much more. It's only that you have to be paid that much more to afford the standards of living just to have a normal life in California. So now you're bumped into whatever $100,000 people make. I don't know what 6 figures, 33%, 29%, whatever it is now. So yeah, you are paying more, but that's only because you choose to live in this overinflated place. And because the cost of living are so high, other employers are forced to pay you more. But whose fault is it that cost of living are so high? Because you guys don't build roads and you guys don't build enough housing. And then now you got to pay $250,000 to get a moderately capable engineer to come in. You know, and now you're saying because of those high salaries, you got to pay high taxes on that. So more of your money's going to government. And that's the fault of red state people. It's like, no, you're like to live in New York. You guys did that to yourselves. Ronald Reagan didn't do that to you. People, gun-toting conservatives at Topeka, Kansas, did enforce the cost of living upon New Yorkers and the high salaries they're forced to pay, and thus the high taxes they have to pay. So in other words, they kind of shot themselves in their own foot, if you see what I'm saying. Like, I got to live here. I got to pay. I need $200,000 to make it. I can make it here. I can make it anywhere. So that's another, there's like this salary geographic inflation, cost of living inflation that has that. What else? Oh, and then the one that I really do believe in, because this is true, is that the left is right on this. They are correct. I will tell you a story. Now, I am going to tell you a story. Now, I'm going to tell you 3 stories. And you can see this. This is why I've given up. I don't know if you've tuned into a couple of my podcasts. If you're new to this, tune into my podcast. I'm a misanthrope. I don't care anymore. I found out that most Republicans are hypocrites anyway. Especially very recently, not very recently, but within the past couple of years, I found out that my Republican buddies have now, or libertarian, right-leaning, I guess, parent buddies, they're parents of kids, have sent their kids to liberal arts colleges where the kids major in stupid shit. And if you're not familiar with who I am, I'm an author of one of many books, but this one in particular called Worthless, 2011, would have prevented the education bubble, but fuck it, right? Who cares? You got to live once, the college experience. And when I saw all my conservative, libertarian, Republican buddies bang on the table about how libertarian and Republican in America they were, but then they send their kids off to Marxist colleges for worthless fucking degrees. Or I'm an alpha male, the woman, we got a traditional relationship, and you get there and the wife is running the place and wears the pants, and you're like, oh, and yeah, let's get in shape and let's learn how to shoot rifles and clean, and then no one shows up and no one wants to get in shape, let alone for the wives either. You realize a super high percent of the Republicans are just as fraudulent and hypocritical as Democrats or leftists. How many Republicans do you think could explain the Laffer curve? How many Republicans do you think could, like me, have the data and statistics where you actually took economic growth over 20-year averages for all the countries that the data was available versus government spending and government revenues, government spending as a percent of GDP, and prove mathematically higher taxes causes lower economic growth? How many of them know the moral, philosophical, and economic and empirical arguments, statistics, data that would, and how of them have at their cause the benefit of people? I don't advocate capitalism and free markets because, Ronald Reagan and reason. It's because it's what's in the best interest of society. My very well researched opinion. Most Republicans are on it because it's Team Republican. The Nika revolts. It's Team Blue versus Team Green. It's our flag. This is their flag. It's the Blues versus the Reds. It's the Vikings versus the Bears. No, your average Republican doesn't know why they're Republican. Just like the average Christian doesn't know why they're Christian and haven't read the Bible. It's because it feels good. It's my team. It's the way I was brought up. And so what the stories, I'll tell you 3 stories. It's where these people were pounding on the table of the Republicans, but then they don't live in the real life. So one buddy of mine, the talented Mr. Lee, he had to work at a gas station during the financial crisis to make ends meet. And he lived in a nice part of town, very nice suburb, probably second richest suburb. And he was appalled at all the luxury SUVs that come into, and luxury cars that would come into his gas station and use EBT cards to buy pop and soda pop and shit like that. A Cadillac Escalade, brand new, and the lady's coming in, and they're Republicans. He's in a solid Republican district. And here comes Republican Rachel with her EBT card, and she's got an SUV that my buddy Khan wish he could have. You wish you could probably buy a house for that. Very similarly related. Some of you probably saw this today too. The food bank is giving away food. Target is getting rid of its about to expire food. Walmart is and then everyone can line up at this time today to get their bag of food. And multiple reports from multiple friends in multiple places, when they saw these cars lining up in the suburbs, in the Republican suburbs, what do you suppose those cars were like? You think they were like my pieces of shit that I drove when I was when I was younger? What, do you think they were like my pieces of shit like I drive today? All the cars are way better. They're at least borrowed money. They're like the 2015s or newer. And some of them, of course, are luxury vehicles where Tina McTitty's housewife, Republican trophy wife, whose dude bro husband couldn't keep up the pyramid scheme at his bank any longer. Oh, now we got to go get ourselves the free gimme dads. Now we need the welfares. And another one, I can't tell who this is, but there was a family I knew, and they were Republican, part of the Republican Party in their area. And they would cheat and screw people out of money and lie, and they were all on welfare. And by welfare, now I see in here Democrats get all like, welfare is technically TANF now today, and it only accounts for 2%. When us real people who pay the taxes, what we mean by welfare is any fucking money that was taken from us and given to you for any fucking reason. Don't care if it's an agricultural subsidy considered, but your free healthcare, your free food, TANF, WIC, SNAP, don't give a shit. It's welfare. Okay. Anytime you take money, I don't care what name or program it's under, it's welfare. Well, these fuckers, these hypocrites were on it. Right now, this is a bit more, but what agitated me the most is how they were. We're Republicans. We're not parasites. It's like, you know what you sound like? You sound like a girl who is getting her master's degree in the liberal arts, who's a big time feminist, has constantly lived off of her dad or the government, needs government grants for her make work bullshit teacher aide job, and demands a student loan bailout, but yet tells me all the time she's independent. That's what you remind me. Now, I wish I could say that. I was not in a position to say that. But in either case, doesn't matter. Feminist, Marxist studies, teacher, whatever, demands student loan bailout, yet I'm strong, independent woman. Or these hypocritical Republicans, I don't know, you got to lower the tax, parasites on society who are parasites. All right? It doesn't matter if there's an R in front of your name. This is 100% legit. All right? Most of the Republicans are hypocrites. And so it does not shock me in the slightest that since most people who align with any political party, especially if they're table pounders, don't do so because they've thoroughly thought through the moral ideological ramifications of having that political ideology. They do it to belong to Team Viking, to Team Minnesota Twins, to Team Sports Ball, because deep down inside, they're worthless fucking people. Right? And so there's that. There's another one. I guess I didn't mention this, but if you look at the map, what really throws effect is the South, which is poor. And so a lot of them are on welfare. Don't discount trailer trash culture, man. I guess we could call it trailer trash culture, where it's like they'll vote my guns in America, but my sister got pregnant. God dang, better go get her some. Who's gonna feed the youngins? God darn, I gotta get whatever. So even though they're taking welfare, you threaten to take away their guns. Or how much you want to bet there's a bunch of guys who like the Confederate flag because that reminds them of Dukes of Hazzard. You come in there like, that's racist. Fuck you. It ain't racist. Get out of here, America. Meanwhile, him and Jessup and his whole family, while they're running the still, they're all collecting a government check. Because people just don't vote on money. Or keep that in mind. There's a couple of people that vote on other. How many anti-abortion Christian people or just anti-abortion people are out there? That has nothing to do with whether you collect a government check or not. That's just you don't want to kill babies. It's just you don't want to kill babies. So the Bible Belt, there's another variable. Like you could be like, oh, anti-abortion would be another perfect example, especially in the South there. Well, that doesn't mean you won't collect a government check. But in general, the South, less educated, more traditional. I think you could even say maybe a bit of a holdover from the Civil War culture. It's like the War of Northern Aggression. Just a twinge of that. Yeah, they vote Republican. Yeah, they're uneducated. They don't got no skills. And they're going to go vote for the free gimme-that's. But nonetheless, when you claim to be conservative and for America, then you go collect a welfare check. I'm like, yeah, you're a hypocrite. And they're right. The Democrats are right. The left in general is correct on this. There is a lot of hypocrisy within your rank and file Republicans, within your people who vote Republican, but then go collect whatever government program, have as many illegitimate kids. Again, go to Wyoming. I got a lot of people from Wyoming that are upset that I keep slamming on Wyoming. It's because you are so slam-onable. I mean, Wyoming's just a big-ass trailer park that houses single mothers. That's all it is. That's all it is. Oh, there's a cattle baron or oil baron there. Some production gets the mining companies keep it afloat. There's some nice skiing and jacks, but outside that, it's like, who's pregnant now? Who's the father? That's the fun game. We don't know. So there you go. All right, let's get some super chats in here real quick before Cappy. Hey, Darius is in house. Darius for $5. House of Representative census representation. States with more people get more gimme-that's regardless of party affiliation. House of Representative census representation. States with more people get more money regardless of political affiliation. Yeah, but that's on a nominal level. I think this is on a per capita basis. They were smart enough to do the math on that one to convert it to per capita. Poo-poo on Western society. All hail communism. Hey, we're on our way. And this time it'll work. We did it wrong the past 2 centuries. Hey, those guys those Bernie Sanders type of professors who also never worked a day in their life before, they figured it out. The North Korean poo-poo on Western society for $2. The North Korean flag looks awesome. It actually kind of does. It's a pretty. I also like the Cuban flag. I like the Cuban flag too. It's a pretty cool flag, and I would want to live there, but at least they got some cool flags, huh? May have starved their entire population, but they got cool flags. And then Ice Knows. Contribute to a nonprofit called Money for Cappy. It's the starving upper middle income bachelor fund. Yes. Ding, ding, ding. Did you know 4 out of 5 upper middle income bachelors with no children don't have a Mach 1 Mustang? Ding, ding, ding. But with your help. Just me sitting there over my truck. Oh, it's not a Mach 1 Mustang. Oh, Eric Clary, a friend of ours is really into Wyoming. I know she is, but she doesn't live in the Wyoming part. She lives in the communist part because she's a communist. I hope she heard that. She'd be like, I'm not communist. She is so, buddy Chad and I, she's so easy. You just have to press this button and she gets all riled up. It's just like, you don't have to put a quarter in the machine. She takes nickels. Just now watch her go. Watch, I'll put a nickel in it. Like, look at her. She's all pissed off. Carl Hoff, $1.98. Thanks, Carl. Just for $2. Wait. Oh, no, that's not. I thought, like, do I know that dog? Is this the decline of the United States? Dream 101 for $2. Ask. Yes. Yes. I wrote this book. When was this book written? 2013. Enjoy the decline. It should be, I guess, accepting living with the death of Western civilization. But yeah, This is the decline of the United States. We've been declining since, well, some people would say since Woodrow Wilson. I'd say more so since the Great Society kicked in, because that's where all the data tells me. But fuck it. Who cares? I'm going to be dead in 20 years. I don't care. All right. That's it. I think I might be done with Asshole Consulting for the day. You will probably see me next week, and I will have the videos turned into MP3s for the podcasts for the past week on the SoundCloud. We'll see you guys later. Toodles.